Hello everybody and welcome back to Manor Lords, where Goldhoff currently needs some work. Specifically, we need burgages. We've got homelessness here, and that is not ideal. So, we're going to get ourselves a couple of burgages. Specifically, we need, like, at least 6, ideally. This is going to be 4. Okay. What if we were to take it... I don't like bending it around the curve like this. I think we're going to have it be about like this. This is 4 burgages here. They've all got kind of small backyards. What if we were to put it about here? Like that. I think that'll work. And then we take this around the curve. Ooh, I don't like the way that that's going. Yeah, that's not following the curve well. If we take it this way, it kind of does. And then this would be... a really awkward sort of setup here. Okay, let's back that off a little bit and start it up here instead. And then have this be... I really don't like the way that this is having this face. I want it to be starting out over this direction, but it's not following the curve if we do that. Maybe if we put it here? I guess. That kind of follows the curve. But I don't like this plot. So let's take it back to here. And just see about having it be something like this. There's no backyards here, but I think we're going to call this good for now. So that will be 6 plots in total. That'll be good enough. So that'll solve the homelessness in Goldhoff. Now, over in Selbins, we've got 1 month worth of fuel. A big part of the problem here is the travel distance out to the wood for the Woodcutter's Lodge. But we're dealing with that. We've got the Forester, which is right over here. We've got the Forester working on this area, and that should be reasonably fine. Now, over in Newslow, we have only 2 months of fuel right now. We've been pretty consistently okay on fuel, though, and I think that is relatively fine for now. We don't have anyone working in this Woodcutter's Lodge. Let's just put somebody in there for now. Okay, so something along the lines of that. There's hunger in Eikenau. This is not surprising. Now, Newslow, we would like to get a burgage plot upgraded to level 3. I don't know how viable that is right now. We're lacking a clothing stall supply and a tavern supply at this moment. So our tavern is out over here. I'm assuming we have a malt house here somewhere, right? Communal oven, clay furnace, large furnace, forester's hut. There should be a malt house here. It would be nice if there was a search function to be able to find things like a malt house. I'm reasonably certain we would have built one. Here it is. Okay, so we do indeed have a malt house, and these guys are not doing too much right now. I think we just have a lack of barley. So that is understood. Down in Immenruth, things should be going fairly okay. I want to check in to see if we can upgrade any of these burgages. We're lacking varieties of food. Okay, so let's take a look at what we've got right now. We've got lots and lots of berries, no bread. Once we have some bread, that should solve it. We should put somebody in the communal oven. There's one person in the windmill right now. That is noted. Out in the farmhouse, we have 1 unit of barley. Okay, so that seems relatively fine. Let's check in on the granary over here. 8 flour. Okay, well, we can upgrade that over to a large granary. We can upgrade this to a large storehouse. That's fine for now. Now, the problem, of course, is Eikenau. There's a lot of hunger in Eikenau right now. It's currently December. We got far, far less in our harvest than we expected. So problems are ensuing in Eikenau. That is not super surprising. So to that end, the question is, what do we want to do about this? I think that we need additional food production here. This probably means a farmhouse, perhaps up over here. Perhaps up over here. I'm thinking it should go over this way, though. There's definitely some high fertility in this area. So if we were to put a farmhouse out by the stonecutter camp, which, by the way, the stonecutter camp should be demolished, and we should not have the person working in there because there's not actually any stone remaining out over here. That'll all be fine. We can put a farmhouse out this direction along with a road. Now, I want to take a quick look at this Emmer fertility again. Okay, so if we were to take the road down this way, And I don't necessarily love that corner there, but something kind of like this. And then it can connect in over here. And then this can come in down this direction, like that. That can get us some decent space up over here for building additional farmland. Now, this is going to be a fairly long transit period from out over here, but I think that's okay. We're going to have people idle anyway, right? So that seems reasonably fine. Now, I want to build a farmhouse up over here, and I would like to put that, I think, up in here or so. And then we're going to put in fields. And these are going to be fairly large fields. I want a field about here, not interfering with these animals, ideally. So a field up over here. What is... Oh, I see what's going on here. Okay, so a field around... Well, actually, I want to change the way that this is going. I want this to be anchored to the road here. And I want this to be... I don't like what this is doing, though. Okay, so it's going to need to be about there. And then we can bring this out over this way. About like that. 1.4 Morgan seems good. So then this field is going to come down over here. Like that. That's 2 fields. We're going to have another one out over this way. 1.1 Morgan seems relatively fine. And then a 4th field up over here. Like this. Then we're going to do a very similar thing out here. So we're going to have this follow along to about here. About like that. 1.4 Morgan seems okay. And then another field is going to come out over here and take up all of this space. 1.9 Morgan there. That's understood. This one's going to come up over here, be a little bit smaller. And then, ooh, okay, that was exciting. Then we're going to have another one just right up over here, 2 Morgan. So something about like that. Hello, deer. You're not going to be happy about your new field, although they kind of will be. I know how deer and farm fields go. So that is definitely going to be a thing. So this farmhouse, we're going to get finished. Now, these guys here are going to continue working these fields. These fields are not great, but we're going to limit them to working this area down here. So that seems good. Then we're going to need to build this up over this way. The farmhouse is what needs to get built first. This field, well, we're going to alternate between these 2 fields, field sets, of course. So wheat is 54, barley is 15. Barley is higher out over here, so is wheat. Wheat is at 70. Okay, let's put barley in these back fields and wheat in these front fields. Like so, for now. That means that these will be high in terms of their field priority. And then these fields are going to be fallow for the time being. So it'll be something akin to this. Looks good. That should get some additional food production going over here. Now, eventually we're going to want to have more burgages in order to work this. So we currently have 1 family that we can put into this farmhouse, right? So that means we're going to need 7 additional burgages. That's going to be a lot of mouths to feed. And that is understood. So we may want to put those somewhere around here or so. So that is 8 burgage points. That's a little too much. Let's back this off slightly to be about here. Do we want them to have backyards? Maybe a little bit of backyard. So something like that. Okay. So we're going to get that going, but we want this farmhouse to be at highest priority. Okay. So we're going to need to get that planted come spring. Food is going to be a problem here. No doubt about that. So in the trading post, I am going to import either, let's see, 12 to import wheat, 12 to import rye, and then grain is also 12. So we're going to have an import of grain. We're going to import somewhere around 20 grain. This is going to be very expensive to do, and I'm aware of that. So we're just going to get that going for now. Okay. So this should be much more productive up over here. The main problem, of course, is they're going to have to haul these goods all the way over to town, to the granary over here, right? So that is going to be a little bit rough to haul that all the way over to here. We could try to truncate this distance a little bit by running a road down this way, basically directly to the granary. And that would end up needing to come in, like, somewhere over this way. Kind of like that. So that road is a little bit more of a straight shot over there, and that means we can also cultivate this area up here if we choose to. So that is reasonably fine. Eikenau clearly needs some additional food production. There's no doubt about that. So that is in progress. Now, over in Zawao, things are okay. In Goldhof, we are still working on these constructions up over here. That's going to take a little bit of time. That is understood. Over in Waldbrand, of course, things are going reasonably well. No real problems here. In Newslow, we are low on fuel, and our food isn't the greatest, but now that we have this new system here of how we're doing the farming, it should be significantly better, in theory. So that seems fine. All of these guys, they're, of course, in an unlimited work area, and we'll move those as we move all of that. So this up over here in Selbitz, we're at 1 month of fuel. We do have 3 in the Woodcutter's Lodge right now. We're waiting on the trees to move back in this direction, and that should be fine. We do want to set the limited work area to be like here or so, or maybe like here. About like that for now. Okay, so that should be fine. We're going to have some issues potentially with fuel here as we go forward, but in theory, we should have these guys working away, and hopefully that'll keep us going until the spring when our fuel costs drop. So that sounds good. Do we have anyone in the mining pit right now? The answer is no. We do have someone in the Stonecutter's camp. Okay, we wouldn't mind some additional expansion here, but I do want to think about potentially getting some additional woodcutting up over this direction. It's a theory anyway. So Eikenau is, of course, a problem. We have citizens that are starving here, and there's not a lot we can do about that right now other than just bring in some additional food, right? So that is understood. We are grinding this grain right now, and that will allow us to bake some bread. So that is good. We're down to 19 hunger in Eikenau, so we are currently, I think, food positive here. We were at 34 hunger before. But this clearly needs some work. We'll be importing some food for a little bit here. Bodies need burial. Yeah, we're probably having some people die of hunger right now. So I'm going to put one family into the small stone church, and that will get taken care of that way. Hunger is clearly a problem here. We are producing some chicken eggs down here as well, in theory. So hopefully things are going to be going a little bit better here, but our harvest was definitely too bad last year. So we're taking steps to deal with that. Cool. There's still 10 grain here. Now, the windmill is a fair ways away. We're having to do a bunch of transportation, and that's understood. I'm not too concerned about that necessarily right now, but we are certainly bringing in some grain here. And yeah, that's expensive. We know that. But we have this grain coming into the trading post, and that will allow us to continue to bake for a while. So hunger is currently hovering at about 18. It is December at this moment. So that is noted. Okay. We don't have enough right now to pay our royal tax, which that's going to be in 42 days. We're definitely going to want to get that dealt with. Death from starvation. Yes, that is expected. It's unfortunate, to be sure, but it is expected. We did put in the policy here, right? Yes, we did. Okay. So that is definitely problematic. We do have some egg production going on down over here, and if we check in on our current food situation, we can see we have no food whatsoever. But there's 5 eggs coming in, and they're gone. So egg production is good. No doubt about that. And there's some meat that comes in, it's gone. There's some honey that came in, it's gone. Bread, it's gone. But we're down to 2 hunger. Now we're up to 5 hunger. Now 6. Okay, so we're definitely trending downward on the hunger, but this is going to be very expensive to import this grain. No doubt about that. We just need to survive. Oh, Goldhoff went up. Okay, sure. Let's head up to Goldhoff here and get this upgraded. Where do we want to take this? Where do we want to take this? Armor making? I don't know about that. We could just go for the heavy plow. What is the fertility over here? Mediocre is the answer. I mean, we already knew that, so we probably don't want to go too agricultural. We're not well set up with resources to go for things like deep mining. There is this rich deposit of berries and this rich deposit of wild animals. So we certainly could go for something like trapping to give a passive income of meat. That's not too bad. We could also go for beekeeping to get honey, and that's pretty decent. I think we'll go for that for now. That seems okay. So, down in Ica now. All we need now is to survive for a little while longer. That's the key thing here. Once spring comes and this berry deposit starts to grow, we'll be okay for a while. Now, we have finished up this farmhouse up over here. That seems good. And we're still working on getting these burgages built up. That's fine. But of course, we're not going to see too much for pop growth over here, I suspect. At least for now. Yeah, we're seeing net negative in our trades. That's to be expected. We're importing grain. So still January, and our current taxes are... I think we're going to have a hard time hitting this. We'll see. After all, that's due in 14 days. We're very close on our taxation. Royal taxes increased. Okay. We are at 3247. Yikes. Okay. I think we're going to go into a very small amount of debt to the king, but we'll get out of that quite quickly. So that seems relatively okay. We aren't running any tithe here, are we? No, we're not. Okay, good. So that's fantastic. We've still got a lot of food over here in Ica now. No doubt about that. The royal tax is going to come in very shortly, and we're going to put a family up into this farmhouse. We're still working on the construction of these burgages. We need them to populate our farmhouse. Okay, so the royal tax is going to be paid very shortly. Yes, I'm aware that a family is hungry. This is down here in Ica now. Yes, that is to be expected. We've got a severe lack of food right now. We were lied to about how much grain we were going to get. That's not great, for sure. But for the time being, I think we'll be okay. So we're in debt to the king by 65. Once we get our next payment, we'll be out of debt. So that is good. Does that actually do anything, though? I'm not sure that it does. But we're barely in debt to the king. Very, very, very small amounts of debt. So we're just waiting at this point for March to hit when we're going to start gathering these berries again. That'll be good. Okay, so our food situation here is, of course, not fantastic. It's still February, but the snow is beginning to melt. Okay, there we've got some meat. That seems fine. So still 13 starvation. We're having some deaths here. This is not surprising. Okay. February is cranking onward here, and we're going to get out of debt on this next month tick. Also on this next month tick, yeah, we know that this is a thing. Also on this next month tick, we're going to get this berry deposit growing, which is now growing. We have death from starvation going on here. Yes, that is expected. We've got some more grain coming in, and our windmill is still grinding up grain in theory. We should have this communal oven baking. We may have too many people in the communal oven to be able to run this windmill, though. So I'm going to back off one family here. We're going to put these up in the farmhouse. So we need to be out plowing out here as soon as we can, right? That is currently the top priority. We have these fields being plowed, in theory. These fields are all fallow for now. And then this out here is fallow, but these are all plowed. Just checking in on our field status. Okay, so this flax field was apparently early harvested. I didn't want it to be early harvested. Okay. Sure. So that seems fine for now. Out over this way. Don't early harvest this either. None of these should be in force early harvest right now. That would only have been the case if we ran into the situation where they're refusing to harvest it, right? So we're going to want to not harvest this field, just get back to it. Okay, just plow that back up and get that over with. There we go. We'll get that resown. That looks good. Cool. Same thing is going to happen over here in Selbitz, in theory. They're hauling the goods back. Yeah, it's okay. So down in Ica now, I want to check in here. Yeah, we've got that berry growing now. So we've got berries in theory on the way in. And we're also working on this field out here. Now, I'm going to pull some families out of this farmhouse for now. And we're going to put them up into this farmhouse. I wasn't sure how many we needed. Apparently that's the number. Okay, so we're going to pull these guys back out. And all of these burgages are built. So we'll assign this family for now here, and we'll assign all 4 of those, and all of these farms are, or all of these are populated up. Okay, good. So we're going to send these guys out here, and we're going to maximally get this going. And eventually these guys will arrive out here, but it's quite a journey. No doubt about it. Yeah, here they come. Perfect. Not sure where you're going. Are you a hunter? Oh yeah, he's a hunter. Okay, perfect. The wild animals are for some reason out in this field, but whatever. It's fine. So, we've got this underway at this point. It is currently March. We're not really in a position to go after Hofstetten this year, I don't think. We don't have the influence right now anyway, so we'll go after that, I think, next year. Now, here in Goldhof, we're going to need some things. Right? This kind of needs a reason to exist. Does it have one? The answer is no, it doesn't. We have a granary, we have a storehouse, we have a logging camp. We're going to need a saw pit here. We're going to need a fair amount of burgages as well. So let's get a number of burgages constructed here, ideally with backyards, although some of these are going to be expandable and some of them will have backyards. So let's get that going. We're also going to need jobs for these people to do. So we're going to need a saw pit here. We can put that in right here. And then I also think we should think about getting some farmers going here. Out over here is decent. So if we were to put a farmhouse here, we could get some fields out here. Now, I'm wondering, what happens if we put a field over this river? Noted. It's just fine. Cool. So demolish that. We don't actually want that field there right now, but we are certainly interested in getting some fields in here. So I'm thinking a field about here. I'd like to have like this river be a divisor. So we can have it be something kind of like this, I suppose. And then out over this way, we could have another field. Like that. And then this can go... Actually, we can get a third field out over this way. And then a fourth field can be something kind of like this. Like that. And then we can do a similar set of 4 fields down over here. Fertility is not going to be quite as good, but actually size is not going to be quite as big. But that's okay. This guy can come down over here. Fertility is slightly lower, but that's fine. And then we can do a field kind of like this. Okay, so something along the lines of that is what we're going to have under cultivation. Now, we're going to have this, for now, be wheat. Wheat. Barley is quite low out over here, but we can have this field be barley. And then these 4 fields down here will be fallow for now. Okay, I don't know that we're going to get that ready to go this year. We'll see if that happens. So we're still working on getting this field fully set up since it was accidentally on early harvest. That's fine. Most of the rest of these are good to go, but these fields, they've got some work to do. So here we're only going to get a few wheat out of this year, and that's understood, but that's still better than we're going to get without this. So that's 12 wheat. Okay, that's definitely not ideal, but it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we're going to be banking up some berries here and looking to get a bunch of, hopefully, reasonable harvests in the future. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Atala, Andy McGar, Ali Lee, Dark Horse, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Tommy Kentogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.